To talk about the situation in Texas, the standoff at Eagle Pass, I don't know. I don't know. I can't appraise that specifically. But it's clear people are ready for it. But here's the problem with jumping on board the bandwagon too quickly. The problem is we are looking at a situation where not only Governor Abbott of Texas, but Ron DeSantis and virtually every other Republican governor is jumping on board the Texas bandwagon, so to speak. So, to be clear, if we have a civil war in this country, you mean to tell me that it's going to be the federal government versus Ron DeSantis and the Republican Party and the swamp monsters of the Republican Party? How much of this is a grassroots pressure and these Republican governors are reluctantly conceding to it? And how much of this glows and is pre-planned? Because I don't see anybody asking that question. And this is information we need crucially before we can correctly appraise the situation. You mean to tell me Ron DeSantis is going to be a revolutionary who's going to provoke a civil war? I don't know. There's something about that I find deeply implausible. And I find that deeply implausible because the Republican Party is part of the deep state. I mean, this isn't just some one-off thing. You mean to tell me the deep state is declaring war on itself? I don't think so. So there has to be an extent to which some of this is pre-planned. And I don't see people being vigilant enough about that. And you should be. Instead of just jumping on the Texas bandwagon right away, uncritically, no, we do need to be a little bit more nuanced. Look, my sympathies are with the people of Texas. And if this is coming from the grassroots, from the people of Texas, they want to secede, I support it fully, almost unconditionally. If anyone thinks, by the way, and let me give you an analysis of what's going on at the border, the reason there's been a huge importation of migrants during the Biden administration, it's not because of the Great Replacement Theory. It's not because of, white people are... It's not a race thing at all. It's actually really simple. So I don't know if you guys remember, after the pandemic, McDonald's was hiring for $22 an hour. And nobody wanted to work. Don't believe me? South Park had an episode on it. And when South Park has an episode on it, you know that shit is real. Anyway, people were very reluctant to go back to these bullshit jobs. The reason why there's a huge migrant crisis and they're bringing a bunch of people over the border is to discipline labor. It is straight up the tried and tested, good old Marxist cliche that they're just doing it to bring in cheap labor. That's it. It's just to drive down wages. Because after the pandemic, the labor force has become reluctant to work these stupid bullshit jobs. So they're bringing up a lot of people from across the border to discipline labor. So to be clear, anybody who sides with the federal government under the pretense that, we want to bring in all these immigrants, you are literally engaging in class warfare against the American working class. And yes, I'm including service workers in that description. You're driving down wages for the McDonald's worker too, okay? So, to be clear, before anything else, that's just the pretense. I think the thing that's going on is bigger than that, but that's just like the official dispute is about, the Supreme Court deciding that federal agents cannot be interfered with in terms of cutting barbed wire. The Texas government is saying that they have the right to put up more barbed wire. It's kind of a constitutional crisis. But this breaking point is a disguise for the clear rupture and division that we've been talking about within American society. It's clearly a chapter in the history of the American Civil War. This is just the official story for it, right? Anyway, I'm very suspicious. I'm not suspicious of the official reason. There's no reason why Americans shouldn't want to have a secure border. And absolutely, the federal government, there is a fucking border crisis that is being facilitated by the federal government. So, officially speaking, I get it. Totally. I totally understand. That's not what I'm suspicious of. I'm just suspicious of the fact, for example, that George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, and Bush Sr., to the extent of my knowledge, those people were fully on board with NAFTA. Those people were fully on board with facilitating mass migration, and those were Republicans. Back then, Ron DeSantis was one of them. So forgive me for being suspicious of the Republican Party's real motivations. I know that they have a pretext, and the pretext seems reasonable, but forgive me for suspecting that Ron DeSantis has, or is part of, a deeper plan or a deeper conspiracy, dare I even say. And what could that possibly be? This could very well be a January 6th moment where they're going to use it as a pretext to crush our civil liberties at the federal level in the name of clamping down on secession. Of course, we aren't going to be able to tell until this thing plays out. So forgive me for being suspicious, but I think you guys should be a little more suspicious. I mean, again, look at the list of Republican governors that are sending troops to Texas, sending the National Guard to Texas. Do you trust those guys? Because I don't. When I say do you trust them, do you trust them to actually like be outside the federal government and like not be those people are all fucking feds, dude. Literally, they're literally part of the deep state. I'm sorry to tell you, you may get your information from Elon Musk or, from Ben Shapiro or something, but the deep state is not just the Democratic Party, okay? The just because Joe Biden is president doesn't mean the Democrats are the government. Thank you, Blackback.
The war merchants will make money off of both sides, just like World War I.
But I think it's much deeper than that. I mean, it's got to be deeper than that. Guys, just because Joe Biden is president doesn't mean, oh my God, it's the Democrat regime. It's like, well, no. I mean, the Republicans are also in power, and they're also part of the deep state. And if you disagree with that, I could be wrong, but I don't think Ron DeSantis is going to challenge the federal government. I just don't. I don't think Ron DeSantis is going to start a civil war. That's a real civil war. I don't. So there's two possibilities. Either this thing is pre-planned or the grassroots pressure is so severe that this is the way they're containing it. So before you go gun-ho and say, I'm going to Texas to fight, chill. What we need is information. That's something we're lacking is information. So if you're going to go down to Texas, scout out the situation. Get information. Because that's what we're lacking. For now, I remain suspicious. Like I said, there's that time lag between the state of our consciousness and the things that are unfolding. We don't know what's going on in Texas. We don't know what's behind it. We don't know what actors are involved. But if Elon Musk is in on it, if the Republican Party is in on it, guess what? I doubt this is a spontaneous revolutionary situation. It had to have been pre-planned. And that's a fact. There's no shot. There's no chance in hell that this is spontaneous. And yes, don't do anything illegal. That goes without saying. Whoever's leading this was planning it for years. Okay, this didn't just happen spontaneously. No, that's not what's going on at all. This isn't like some revolution breaking out randomly, all right? This is fulfilling a plan we don't know anything about. And this was planned, okay? I get that there's a border crisis, but put it this way. There'll be plenty of opportunities for a communist party or for an organization to get a piece of the action because we haven't seen anything yet as far as the extent of civil war. Trust me when I tell you, you need to trust me when I tell you, we haven't seen anything yet. Okay? So don't, oh my God, all these things are happening. Why aren't we there? Listen, we don't know what's fucking going on. Even if we did have an organization, I would tell you to stand down, don't do anything, and get information first. If the organization was out, I would not be commanding you guys to be going to fucking Texas and just throwing yourselves at this situation. I would be telling you, let's very carefully appraise and scout this situation we have literally no idea about. So we need to be wise about the situation, and I want to be clear about that.